Okay, thanks very much for coming along to this webinar. I'm going to speak to you about our new MSc in Artificial Intelligence, Weather and Climate Change, which will start in September 2026. It's taught here in University College Dublin, but it's co-developed and co-taught by our National Meteorological Service, who are Met Éireann. The centre's name is I'm Sure. I'm Sure is the Irish word for weather, but it also stands for Artificial Intelligence for Meteorological Services, Innovation and Research. And the reason that this research centre and this MSc have come about is because Met Éireann have provided us with a €5 million grant to develop a whole research centre in the area of AI, weather forecasting and climate change. And part of that research centre is the development of this new MSc programme, and the staff at Met Éireann will also be involved in designing and teaching these modules. Let me tell you a little bit about AI and weather forecasting in case you weren't aware. This is a plot that goes back to the early 2000s, looking at the accuracy of a particular aspect of our weather forecasting system. I don't know if you can see my mouse if I move it around. These are our traditional weather forecasting models, and over time they've got better. As we get into the early 2020s, we've gone from about sort of 4 to 5 days up to around 5.5 to 6 days. But in the last 4 or 5 years, AI models have taken over the world of weather forecasting, and these ones that you can see up here, so this is Google's GraphCast model, Microsoft Aurora's model, Huawei's Pangu model, and one that's open source and available to everybody called AIFS, have all completely beaten the traditional weather forecasting models. So whilst the traditional forecasting models have improved by about 40% I've gone ahead a slide. Whilst the traditional models have improved by about 40% over the last 40 or so years, the AI models have actually improved 90% over just the last 4 years. And nowadays, these AI weather forecasting models are starting to become used by our weather forecasting services. So this one in particular, AIFS, is already part of our daily weather forecasts. And the whole idea of this MSc is to teach you how these work and how you can further develop them and apply them in different situations. So we're going to teach you to do that, but the reasons why you should really care about this are not just how those models are developed, but how they're actually used. Now, Ireland in particular is succumbing in more recent years to extreme weather. We have more floods, we have more extreme heat waves, we have more droughts. We have more wind droughts, and because of climate change, we know that that's happening across the planet in different ways. And the use of these new AI tools, they're so flexible that we can apply them to loads of different areas beyond just the immediateness of the weather, but actually into things that more readily affect our daily lives. And besides just the impact on, say, health or on our landscapes as well, there are enormously interesting areas in terms of agriculture and the effect of AI models and the improved accuracy we get. Also in terms of green energy infrastructure, forecasting the wind turbines and the solar power we might need to power future generations. All of these can come out of the areas of AI-based weather forecasting. So the MSc has a number of core modules and optional modules. I'll go through the optional modules in the next slide. The core modules here are a module on AI for weather and climate, which is taught by me. That's a 10 credit, it's a double module. So it would be 4 to 6 hours a week of taught components over the course of the first trimester of the MSc. We also have our main physical meteorology and climatology module, which covers the basics of the maths and the way the weather and the climate system works. We have a module on AI and extremes, so looking in particular about how AI can be used, for example, to measure extreme wind speeds, to measure extreme heat waves, and so on. We have a field trip down to one of the large Met Éireann weather stations in the southwest of the country. That's a week-long thing where you learn about how meteorological stations work. We have a module on AI computing and visualization for weather applications, and this starts to cover some of the high-performance computing aspects of AI-based weather forecasting and how they can be applied and how you can use visualization tools to actually understand what you are producing. We have a course on synoptic meteorology. So this discusses how weather stations actually work and what they're measuring and how we can process that data. We have a module on impact modeling for weather and climate. So this is very much focused on what we can do with weather data and AI forecasting and how it might lead to better useful day-to-day predictions for everyday people. And then we have a 30-credit summer dissertation. And there'll be a period of time spent at the Met Éireann offices, which are on the north side of Dublin, and you'll be working with a Met Éireann supervisor on a project that's particularly relevant to them. I put two of those modules there in bold as well, because those two modules, synoptic meteorology and impacts modeling for weather and climate, are taught by the Met Éireann staff. So we have experts from our own meteorological service who'll be coming in to deliver those modules to you. So those are the ones that you have to take. And then there are a number of optional modules. I think you can take, is it 2 or 3 of these? I've forgotten the exact number, but it's on the webpage. Those optional modules include partial differential equations, so a much more fundamental mathematical detailing of how the mathematics of the weather system works. Dynamical meteorology and numerical weather prediction, that's a really important module. We've put it in the options because you do need to have a strong background of mathematics to take that. But we would hope that many of the people who are accepted onto the program who have the requisite mathematical skills will take this module. This goes into the real details of how the weather behaves as a set of differential equations of of a fluid on a rotating sphere. Then we have modules on applied hydrology, so looking at flooding in particular, coastal risks, urban data analytics, natural hazards and risks, marine geoscience, machine learning with Python in case you want to update your more general machine learning or Python skills, uncertainty quantification, a module on weather, climate and climate change, which is a bit broader, a module on remote sensing, so using satellite information, and then a module on geostatistics and programming for GIS. And whilst the main masters here is taught by the School of Mathematics and Statistics, a number of these optional modules come from different schools at UCD. So they come from the UCD School of Computer Science, from the School of Earth Sciences, and from the School of Civil Engineering. In terms of the applicants we are looking for, so you need to hold a 2-1 honours degree or international equivalent in a science, mathematics, engineering, or a similar discipline. So anything that has a strong scientific component to it. And we do require, and we look through your transcripts to try and find if you studied calculus and linear algebra at an undergraduate level. Those two modules are really important if you want to understand the AI and the weather forecasting and climatology pieces of the module. You must meet the minimum English language requirements. And if you do have some of these modules, the core ones covered before, you may be eligible to some reduction in the module load through the recognition of prior learning or RPL. We also have scholarships available, and I'll talk about those. We have one EU one and one non-EU one, and they are provided with a €28,000 per year stipend, paid monthly. That's tax-free, and all of your fees would be covered for that as well. So in terms of the scholarship details, we have one full fee waiver, a €28,000 stipend for a non-EU applicant, one for an EU or UK applicant as well. The way it works is that you complete the standard online application for the MSc Artificial Intelligence for Weather and Climate Change, and then you apply for the scholarship. And you can only apply for that scholarship once you've completed the application. And to apply for the scholarship, you need to email imsha@ucd.ie with your transcripts, your CVs, and your names of 2 referees. It's much of the same material that you would have used for the application anyway. What we will do is we will award those scholarships based on academic excellence and the fit to the MSc programme. And the deadline for those scholarship applications is coming up really soon. It's April the 15th. And we, as soon as those close, we will be looking through, looking to award those scholarships, and the candidates will be informed by early May as to whether they've got those or not. And we're aiming to do that even sooner if we can. So in terms of what you'll get out of this master's, is that you'll get a fundamental understanding of how AI works. We want to teach you how all of the latest neural network and more traditional machine learning techniques work and how they have been applied in the area of weather forecasting and climate change. We can see lots of different potential jobs that might come out of this particular qualification. The obvious ones are working for a meteorological service as a weather forecaster or something, a specialist in one of their divisions, looking at floods or looking at wind power or looking at impacts. Then it's obviously very focused in the tech sector as well. So we would expect you to be able to go into as an AI specialist in a tech company. We have many of those based around Ireland and especially in Dublin. We would like many of the students through this to stay in academia. We are always on the lookout for PhD students. So if you found this particularly interesting and wanted to study it in more depth, you could become an academic researcher. And then because of the broadness of the applications of AI in environmental science, anything really to do with environmental data analytics or data science, you would be highly qualified for a post in that area. Okay, there's our website, ucd.ie/imsure. You can find out more details about these programs there. But thank you very much for listening, and I will stop and looking forward to your questions.